Well, Microsoft wanted to dominate the programming world, right? So they had Microsoft Visual Studio, which has morphed now into VS Code, right? But way back when, remember, Microsoft started by making basic interpreters for the Altair and other basic interpreters. So Microsoft's lineage comes from like literally making programming language tools. And there was another company around the same time called Borland that made Turbo Pascal. And I remember my mother brought me, my mom worked at NYU, my mom brought me a bunch of Turbo Pascal discs and books that were being discarded. And I read those as a teenager. And then when I went to this high school, they had Turbo Pascal there. So I was able to write a little Pascal. But the point is, Microsoft wanted to take their domination of programming languages, pre-GUI programming languages, to the GUI, and that's why they created Visual Basic. It didn't work out. It didn't work out for a lot of reasons, but the C libraries for Windows still became very important for making and writing Windows apps. So, but they weren't able to sort of get this stronghold around the entire ecosystem. They're getting it back to some extent with VS Code, interestingly, and now they own GitHub, and now they kind of semi-own OpenAI. So Microsoft, I always was rooting for Microsoft as a kid. It's funny. There was so much hate for Microsoft in '94. I loved Bill Gates. I thought he was the coolest guy in the world. And everyone hated him. Everyone in the media made fun of him for being too rich, too dominating, too this, too that, and he was just kind of like an IDGAF kind of guy. And I kind of looked at that with like this reverence of like, yeah, this is the kind of guy I want to be like. He's too alpha. This is why America is great, right? You can be like that and not give a fuck and shrug it all off your shoulders. And Bill Gates spent the next 20 years of his life trying to repair his reputation as a ruthless Machiavellian business person. And in the software industry, he was hated by most purists in software who were programmers or hackers or what have you. They were rooting for the open source movement. They were rooting for Apple. They were rooting for Linux. They were rooting for anything but Bill Gates. And times have changed. Microsoft is a much friendlier kind of company. They successfully repaired their image, but at the same time, it's just sort of funny to see how it's all evolved over time. But I think that it's important to be diverse when you have a company. I know that a lot of people disagree with that, and it's not something I'm going to compromise on. I think when you have a company, you have to have more than one product line.